Welcome back to week 5 of me chasing my dreams of teeing off at the US Open. This week's enemy is the dreaded 3-putt. Last week I had my best outing yet where I was able to have much better shots and improved my score by 12 strokes. However, my short game was non-existent and every chip barely went 10 yards. This week at the range I wanted to prioritize making good contact. The 3 key points I was focusing on were keeping my lead foot down, following through straight, and being aligned to the target. I will say, keeping the lead foot down is a lot easier said than done. Otherwise, I felt like I was making pretty good progress at the range and was feeling like my irons and wedges were feeling much better. Starting off on this 314-yard par 4, I absolutely shanked my 3-wood, and this is starting to become a recurring theme. I do end up hitting a good recovery shot with my 7-iron and end up in chipping territory of the green. And this time I was able to stick my sand wedge on the green in hopes of putting for par. The first putt didn't break at all, and my second putt broke a bit early, so it ended up being a putt for par, ended up being a tap in for double bogey. What a start. On this 495-yard par 5, I decided to switch up to the driver, and even though I hooked it a bit right, I was in decent position. I followed up with another good 7-iron and had a good look to place it on the green. My 52 degree was a bit short, but nothing a little chip can't fix. What should have been one chip turned into two, but it set me up for a putt for bogey. My putt lips out and I have another tap in for double bogey. Trusting my driver again on this 399-yard par 4, I end up slicing it right into a tree but get a lucky bounce that ends up right in front of all the tee boxes. A decent 7-iron keeps me more or less looking right at the pin, just off of the fairway. I'm able to hit my 8-iron pretty well and it gets me just short of the green. I did make the same chipping mistake this time around and get onto the green and won. Putting for bogey again, I put the ball just left of the hole and my second putt lips out. A tap in for triple bogey and my putting is starting to hurt my game. No driver on this 127-yard par 3 and I'm able to get onto the green and won. Pretty long putt for birdie, but anything can happen. I misread the putt a bit and leave it short, but I do have a look at par. And I also leave that putt short too. So I settle for a tap in for bogey. Hole 5 is a 345-yard par 4 and I decide to hit my 3-wood. I slice it onto the other fairway and luckily I can still play it. But as I try to get it out, it goes straight and winds up in the tee box. I forgot to hit record, but I was able to hit that shot onto the green, and this is another putt for par. But as everyone can guess, I misread the putt and at least I got closer. I also leave my second putt short and my third putt lips out, so in 5 holes I have 3 lip outs. Tap in for triple and the short game is non-existent. Hole 6 is a nice 329-yard par 4 that shouldn't be too difficult. But I don't hit a great tee shot, and as I'm walking to my ball, someone drives by and takes it. I completely top my second shot, and my third shot isn't much better, but it gets a good bounce and gets me out from behind the trees. My wet shot ends up being pretty good and gets me right onto the fringe, and I decide to putt this for bogey, and once again I misread the putt. I proceed to misread the second putt and misread the third putt, so who doesn't love a tap in for quad bogey? I decided to go with an 8-iron on this 155-yard par 3, but I end up sending it just right. I hit a pretty good second shot, but I couldn't find it, so I had to take a drop somewhere around where I thought it should be. I had another good chip and surprisingly was able to knock down the putt. 337-yard par 4, and once again my 3-wood goes absolutely nowhere. A pretty good recovery shot with my 7-iron, and then I was able to hit my sand wedge onto the green. No leaving it short this week. Once again putting for par, and I put this long putt just left of the hole. A tap in for bogey, and this hole was a nice change from all the triples earlier. Hole 9, a 299-yard par 4, and I'm finally able to get a good drive for my 3-wood. I hit my 52 degree a bit left and end up in the bunker. Can't say I've hit too many times out of bunkers. I get out of the bunker but end up in the fringe. A nice little chip shot and I have a putt for bogey. Once again, I misread the putt and then I proceed to misread the second putt. Third putt looks exactly like the first one and I put it just left. I thought the fourth putt was going to drop, but apparently I didn't have enough lip outs throughout the round, so I tapped it in for 5 over par and that was the worst way to end the round. So to round things up, I was 23 over par with way too many 3 putts. On the bright side, if I was to clean up my drives and my putting, I think I can definitely break 50, as long as I limit the 3 putts. Tune in next week to see if I can have less 3 putts as I attempt to break 50.